Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that feels more vital than ever in our constantly connected world. We're talking Cal Newport's, well, really game-changing book, Deep Work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those books that really sticks with you.
Totally. So, our mission for this deep dive is to unpack a key resource. It's a detailed review of Newport's seminal work, Deep Work, a review of Cal Newport's productivity guide. Came out in 2016. And it immediately became this landmark in productivity. Self-improvement always gets high ratings. And the promise is basically your guide to mastering distraction.
Yeah.
And focusing on those really tough, cognitively demanding tasks that, actually create real value. Especially now in this attention-starved world we live in.
And that core idea, that premise, it's just incredibly powerful. Newport basically argues that, while everyone's obsessed with just being busy.
Looking busy.
Exactly. The real advantage, the path to success, belongs to people who can work with depth. We mean like sustained periods of focused, uninterrupted, really high-level thinking.
Right. He calls it the superpower of the 21st century, doesn't he?
He does. That's the quote. And it's easy to just dismiss it as, oh, just focus harder. But Newport really builds this compelling case for why. It's not just efficiency. It's about creating unique value, stuff that, even AI can't just replicate easily. That's the real superpower now, isn't it? When so much is getting commoditized.
That's a huge shift in perspective right there. So, okay, well, most of us are kind of caught in that swirl. Emails, meetings, notifications.
That constant buzz.
Yeah, the buzz. Newport calls that shallow work. It feels busy, maybe, but it doesn't really move the needle, does it? He argues that the ability to do deep work is actually rare.
Extremely rare.
Yeah.
And incredibly valuable because of it.
So if deep work is the answer or an answer to this attention-starved world, the big question for you listening is, how do we actually build the superpower? What even is it exactly? And how can we, cultivate it in our own lives?
Well, the review digs right into that. It gives Newport's precise definition. Deep work is professional tasks performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their limit.
Okay, so break that down. Examples.
Think about writing a complex research paper, coding something genuinely new, planning a long-term strategy for a business, solving a really tricky problem, those kinds of activities.
Right, the heavy lifting mentally.
Exactly, the
Right.
stuff that builds real expertise and creates lasting impact.
And then the flip side is that shallow work, which, like you said, it's not cognitively demanding, stuff you can do while distracted. So yeah, responding to DMs, scrolling feeds, sitting in a meeting, half listening, or, micromanaging a report that really doesn't need it.
And look, the distinction isn't just like academic theory. It's really crucial for your career path. Shallow work might make you feel productive.
Yeah, ticking boxes.
Right, ticking boxes. But deep work is what actually builds your skills, your career, your legacy, ultimately.
Wow, okay. Legacy.
Yeah.
That's big.
And it matters even more now, especially in this, knowledge economy we're in. The review points out 3 types of people who are really set to thrive.
Okay.
Those who can learn complex things fast, those who can produce work at a really elite level, quality and quantity, and maybe the most important, those who can reliably do both.
Okay, so if you're listening, how does this connect back? What does it mean for you?
Well, deep work is basically the engine. It helps you do all 3 of those things. Learn fast, produce high-quality stuff, combine them. So it's super relevant for anyone looking to really excel, not just tread water. Job, studies, personal projects, anything.
Okay, so Newport doesn't just diagnose the problem. He actually gives us a roadmap, right? These 4 rules, practical guidelines to actually do deep work.
Exactly. Rule number 1, work deeply. Sounds obvious, maybe, but it's profound. It's not just try harder. It's about systematically creating a routine, a structure.
Yeah.
It means actually scheduling blocks of time for deep work, like 2 to 4 hours, typically, and then being ruthless about eliminating distractions.
Yeah.
Apps, notifications, noise, even just open browser tabs.
Ruthless, I like that.
Yeah. And he suggests rituals, too, like maybe the same time each day, same place, specific drink, signals to your brain. Okay, it's focus time now.
And he gets that people's lives are different, right? He offers different models for this. You've got the monastic one, total isolation, like a monk almost.
Pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Then bimodal, maybe deep work days, shallow work days. Rhythmic, which sounds more manageable for many, like a set time every day, 2 hours each morning maybe.
That's a popular one.
And then journalistic, fitting it in where you can, though he says that's harder for beginners, right?
Yeah.
Needs more discipline.
Definitely harder to sustain if you're just starting out. And that leads perfectly into rule 2, embrace boredom.
Okay, that sounds unpleasant.
Huh? It does, doesn't it? But the insight here is huge. Our brains are basically addicted to novelty, to constant stimulation. Newport's saying we've, systematically weakened our ability to focus.
How so?
That constant checking, scrolling TikTok or whatever, for just a minute between tasks. It actually trains your brain away from concentration. It destroys its capacity to focus when you actually need it.
So it's like focus is a muscle we've let atrophy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this rule is about rebuilding that muscle. It's like focus rehab.
So what's the practical advice then? How do you embrace boredom?
Well, it's counterintuitive. He suggests scheduling your internet breaks. Don't just grab your phone on impulse when you feel a lull.
Schedule your scrolling. That's wild.
It is. But it builds mental toughness.
Yeah.
You resist that immediate urge. He also suggests things like meditating on a problem while you're walking instead of automatically reaching for your phone to doom scroll.
Right, that mindless, often negative feed that just drains you anyway. Okay, that makes sense. On to rule 3.
Rule 3. This is often the toughest one for people. Quit social media.
Whoa, okay. Quit entirely.
Well, he frames it as a challenge. Ask yourself really honestly about every tool you use. Does this tool actually support my core goals? If it doesn't offer clear, measurable value, personal or professional growth, his advice is blunt. Cut it. Get rid of it.
It's a direct challenge to just mindlessly consuming this stuff, isn't it?
Completely. It pushes for intentionality. Don't just use something because everyone else is. He has this great quote, "The cost of distraction is far greater than the benefit of convenience."
Oof, that hits home. But what about people who say, look, I have to be on social media for my job? That's a real thing for many.
That's a great point, and it needs nuance. He's not anti-technology. He's anti-mindless technology use. His point is about being intentional.
Okay.
So if a platform genuinely serves a clear, measurable, professional goal, maybe it's your main marketing channel or a vital community, then okay, use it. But use it strategically, with limits, like a tool.
Not just as a default time filler.
Exactly. The problem is when it's just habit or passive consumption without a clear purpose driving it.
Got it. That clarifies things. And rule 4.
Rule 4, drain the shallows. This is all about actively minimizing that shallow work we talked about earlier.
Okay, how do we do that? It seems like it creeps in everywhere.
Strategies include things like time blocking, scheduling literally every minute of your workday. Learning to say no more often to things that aren't essential.
Saying no. Hard, but necessary.
Very. And batching similar shallow tasks together, like dealing with all your emails in one specific block rather than checking constantly. Same for meetings or admin stuff. Contain it.
Yeah, I read about his fixed schedule productivity idea too. That sounds intense, stopping work at a set time no matter what.
It is intense, but it creates this powerful pressure, this constraint. You have to get the important stuff, the deep work, done within those hours. It forces efficiency.
And protects your personal time too, right? Fights burnout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Protects against that constant work creep. And he has that great filter question for new tasks. How long would this take if I absolutely had to do it tomorrow?
Right.
If the answer is more than, say, 5 minutes, you either schedule it properly or you decline it. It's a really effective, if somewhat brutal, filter for requests on your time.
Brutal but effective. I like it. So, looking at the book overall, what are its big strengths, according to the review?
Well, a major strength is that it's both really actionable and deeply philosophical. It blends theory, neuroscience, cognitive science with concrete tactics you can use tomorrow.
So it's not just why, it's how.
Precisely. Like when he talks about your brain's ability to concentrate, he's tapping into neuroplasticity. Our brains adapt. If you're constantly switching tasks, your brain literally gets better at switching.
And worse at focusing.
Exactly. Which is why embracing boredom isn't just a catchy phrase. It's about actively rewiring your brain for focus.
Wow.
And it's packed with great examples, too. Carl Jung building his writing tower, Bill Gates' Think Weeks, how journalists manage deep work under pressure. It feels grounded in how real people achieve big things.
And you can see how relevant it is now, can't you? Open tabs, Slack going off, social media pings, remote work chaos.
Yeah.
It feels less like a nice-to-have and more like a survival guide for getting anything meaningful done.
Totally. It comes from that high-performance angle.
Yeah.
It's not about just doing more. It's about doing what matters most and doing it exceptionally well.
Yeah, it really makes you question how much of our daily busyness is just avoiding the truly hard, valuable work.
It really does. But, no book is perfect. There are criticisms.
Like what?
Well, that rigid anti-social media stance comes up a lot. Newport himself uses none, and while his points have merit, some find it too extreme, maybe unrealistic for their situation.
Yeah, I can see that. Is there a middle ground? Or maybe, does the definition of deep work get fuzzy sometimes, especially if your job requires a lot of interaction?
That's a fair challenge.
Mhm.
Newport would likely argue for structuring that interaction, treating it like a scheduled, shallow block, not a constant interruption. He really pushes back on the idea that the blurriness is unavoidable.
Hmm.
Maybe we've just gotten used to being distracted.
Food for thought. Any other criticisms?
It can feel a bit repetitive if you've read a lot in the productivity space already. Some concepts might feel familiar, and crucially, its main focus is knowledge workers. Writers, coders, strategists, academics. If your job is primarily physical or very reactive like an ER doctor, perhaps some of the specific tactics might feel less directly applicable. Though the core ideas about focus, I think, still hold value.
Okay, that makes sense. So summing that up, who is this deep dive really for? Who's the ideal listener?
Based on the review, it's really broad within the knowledge work sphere. Creatives, entrepreneurs, students, researchers, professionals.
Basically, anyone feeling overwhelmed by multitasking and notifications.
Yeah. Or high achievers just looking for more clarity, better output, maybe more fulfillment from their work. If you feel like you're drowning in the shallows, this is for you.
It's a goldmine for cutting through noise.
Definitely. And the book has some fantastic quotes that just capture the essence. Like, clarity about what matters provides clarity about what does not.
Powerful.
And if you don't produce, you won't thrive no matter how skilled or talented you are. Hits hard, that one.
Yeah, it does. Production matters.
And finally, what we choose to focus on and what we choose to ignore plays in defining the quality of our life really makes you think about attention itself.
Absolutely. And the review mentioned it pairs well with other books.
Books like Atomic Habits by James Clear, Greg McKeown's Essentialism, and Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, they all kind of orbit that same universe of focus, discipline, and doing meaningful work.
Good recommendations. So the final verdict from the review.
Pretty clear. Deep Work is a modern classic, essential reading for anyone trying to rise above the digital noise and do work that truly matters. It's framed as an antidote to distraction, reminding us our attention is our single most valuable asset.
Couldn't agree more. So, as we wrap up, here's something for you, the listener, to mull over. Given how much distraction shapes our days, what's maybe one small, specific commitment you could make starting today to carve out just a moment of real, uninterrupted, deep work?
Even just 15 minutes to start.
Exactly, just one small step. And what might that focus, that little bit of depth, unlock for you? We really encourage you to reflect on your own habits, see where these principles